Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in and check out your boy, D-Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab where I do what I do for you. Oh, boy, I've been busy, so I got something nice for you. Hope you enjoy it. Let's go. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receive them? I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission. And that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. I'm giving you some information that you can definitely use. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal, which is spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? You will when I'm through. If you don't have an answer for yourself, it's rhetorical. If you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not. It's simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know, they're spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. Always. To Maya, be true. We back on telling you about the characters of the generations of deities. I'm down to talking about answering the question, why do we suffer? Every human being, right think, excuse me, let's talk about every human being, how to avoid suffering. That's the question. That's the title. I'm going to break it down to you right here. This says it all. Every human being suffers until what? Until they attain spiritual enlightenment. You can't get around it. You can't go there without being spiritually enlightened. So until that happens, you will continue to reincarnate and suffer through your own what? Ignorance of self. My goal is to get you to know thyself, to take care of that problem for you. That's why I do what I do for you. Moving on. So get the concept? Now watch the lesson. Listen to the lesson. You have Neptet. She represents mortality. Again, nature. And all that is transient, meaning everything that comes in to human form gonna go out. In human existence, she is physical nature itself, which transforms itself what? Constantly. Right now, nature is going underground. Hibernation time. Why? It's cold. It can't survive. So it goes under. It goes dormant. It dies. Springtime, earth heat up. Sun come back. Shine down it. Heat the earth up. It starts to grow again. Life regenerates. So that's, as human beings, we do the same thing. If we don't learn our lesson, we're going to die and what? Regenerate in another body conceptually. Like, get back to the lesson. And what happens? It constantly brings forth life only to what? See it die. That's nature. The flowers, everybody looks so good, but guess what? If you don't get them while they're there, why? They're going to be gone shortly. They got perennials and annuals. I know a little bit about that too. Again, knowing a little bit about something don't mean you proficient in it. So I wouldn't try to teach botany or plants. I don't know about that now. So I just know a little bit. Again, some people think because they got a little bit, they got something. You got a little bit, you ain't got nothing. Moving on. Nothing worth nothing. And you would die in what? Just to be reborn, aka reincarnated. But thus, she also presides, watch this, over what? The reincarnation state. Her and her, well, her and me, her is doing what? Reincarnation. They there, right there, the whole time. But also, she represents another important principle. Here you go. We're dealing in principle here. Philosophical concepts of human existence Neptet is the quality of, you ready? Devotion. She's devoted to her sister, Aset, never leaves her side. She's devoted to Asar, okay? They had to do what they had to do. Another story. That's a good lesson in life. Why? Because what's this? She represents mortality, which is nature, and she's devoted. Her whole purpose is to be devotion in what? In all life, which is expressed where? In its highest degree. Watch this. Through what? That emotion we call love, which what? Manifests where? In every human being. We got this thing. That's love. Remember, and every human being has it. And that what? Loves Asar. Mortality, love, spirit. They get together. Watch this. That is to say, she is devoted to him and wants to what? Mate with him. In other words, mortality desires what? Immortality. The freedom of the soul. When she mates with Asar, they bring forth Anpu, who represents right discernment. They saying spirit, immortal spirit, with mortality spirit brings up what they call a demigod. He's a little human, he's a little god, but he controls what? Discernment. His decision making is on point. That's his role, that play. And remember, they teach you what? Discernment. Knowing what? Right from wrong, true from false. He's the epitome of that in you. I used my discernment when I was diddy bopping on the corner. My discernment was sharp to see if you was friend or foe, okay? That's what discernment does for you. You can see who is real, who's not. A lot of us who go to mega churches, discernment is not pretty good. So moving on, I leave that there. But when you know somebody's telling truth, you know, you should know. You should know when somebody is lying about telling the truth. Sorry, but Neptet, again, she loved Asar, and therefore they got together, and the offspring is discernment, right discernment. Therefore, upon discovering your Anpu conscious, and it's spelled, watch this, Conscience. That means it's a proven science. Okay, your discernment has been proven, and no longer does a person, once you have discernment, watch this, it changes your perspective about life. Now, no longer does you desire what? Worldly things for their own sake. No longer does you, that person who found discernment within himself or herself, care to think about the body, mortality, or finite existence, meaning the principles of Neptet. You've risen above that now, but you now turn what? Toward what is true in life. How do you know what's true in life? Human love manifests in various degrees, okay? I just gave the lesson about two sides of love, conditional, unconditional. They're going to break it down for you perfectly. Watch this. I did my way. Watch this. Some people love themselves. We know somebody like that? Again, when I ask you that question, it's a check, self-check. If you don't know nobody like that characteristic, you might want to check yourself. Why? If you don't see it, maybe it's you. That's all. Just a little advice. But you got people who love themselves. That's a selfish way of caring for themselves alone. And that's, to a degree, okay. This condition is what? Set. That's ego. Operating through them. Me. I. Sit. Where we going with that? And you got others who love material objects. Gold diggers, they call them. And senses of pleasure. Freaks, we call them. Now, they call them, escorts and, but they just getting us out of control. Okay. But this is all done by every individual who is not what? Conscious of who they are, and they live in what? On the ego, which is the lower level. We got a whole world of that. Moving on. And this is also Satanian behavior, although it's a more what? Expanded manifestation of love, again, for oneself. And that person will pretty much do whatever they need to do, whatever they think they have to do, what? To survive, to do for self, get what they think they deserve or what they think they should have. So they step, lie, cheat, kill to what? Keep their way of life. Sound familiar? Moving on. There's always message in my stuff. Others, what? Love family members. And still, you got others who love their community, which is how it's supposed to be. I got a community of church, my church family. I have nothing but love and respect for them. I don't have to engage with them to show me love and respect. Why? I'm there with them. I'm sharing with them. That's what it's about. Okay? But these are all things that every individual does within himself first. Everything is inward and then outward. Love, watch this. Now, love may be expanded to include one's country. All of a sudden, he patriots. Okay, USA, man, I ain't got time for that. Okay, or even humanity. Count me in. If it's good and productive and positive, I'm on that road. If it ain't good, I'm not rolling with it. Simple as that, I ain't got time. But watch this. Now, and the highest love, which is what? In time and space, is what? For God, oneself, for real. Transcending. That is what we call nurture. Also, nurture, as the feeling of love expands, a person loves what? The earth. He have love for heavens. And then he had the subtle essence. He loved the subtle essence, which enlivens what? Creation itself. We back to what? God, and beyond that, nurture, the absolute. Thus, they grow in universal love. Ding, ding, ding. We all can grow in universal love. And watch this. And in so doing, you are actually, you ready? Growing in cosmic consciousness. Because what? God is universal, aka unconditional love itself. When you love with a condition, it's not God love. That's personal. And the cosmic expansion of love and devotion for all that exists. If you got love for everything, all mankind, Mahatma Gandhi, peace on it. Yeah. And that's driven by every individual. Everybody ain't gonna see it that way, but that's the opportunity that we all have. Moving on. And all those who exhibit it, we remember. Okay? Now, Neftet is what? She's the reflection of Aset. They twins. Only thing different, one represents one thing, one represents the other. Two sides of a different coin. Aset is head, Neftet is tail. How about that? Same coin, but watch this. Now, Neftet is the reflection of Aset, but her name means lady of the house. Now, house, not mean no. Remember, temple, don't mean the damn temple. It's the body. House means the body also. Okay, get understanding and it makes sense. House here implies what? Mortal or physical human body existence, which exists where? In creation, which is also in time and space. Now, third dimension, we're in the physical form, okay? Whereas Aset, she represents the subtle spirit realm, which transcends what? Mortality. She don't go to the grave, okay? She don't die. She just immortalized. Okay, in any case, watch this. They are what? One and the same goddess, expressing what? Two forms, the subtle, which is Aset, immortal, as well as the gross aspect, which is Neftet, which is what? Physical, and creation and human consciousness. Again, knowing that this physical body is going to wear out, that means you understand that. You got to being scared to die is dumb. That's why. The fact that you're born means you're going to, is part of life, death. If you do what you do while you're here, you'll get going back. If not, you reincarnate, moving on. And watch this. The fact that they are what? Both consorts of who? Asar, the immortal spirit, points to what? The fact that our soul, Asar, is wedded to what? The subtle, which is Aset, immortality, as well as what? The gross essence of physicality, which is Neftet, of creation. Understand that. It is notable that what? while Neptet is supposed to be the consort of Set. Remember? Oh, how you get, but the story goes, Neptet and Set. Ego and nature, they go together, they don't produce nothing. Okay? Nature, which is mortality, had to what? Mate with spirit. Immortality to have offspring. Set, which is your ego. Got him coming up to break him down for you. I think I did before. But Set, watch this. She's the consort of Set, his wife. And the story goes, when Asar and Neptet had relationships, Set was jealous. Why? Because he slept with his wife. Wouldn't you be? So that's why he killed his brother. A whole bunch of story goes, okay, all story to show you different egoistic concepts against good, right, and wrong. Simple as that. And it's all going on inside of you. That's the key. The story is you. The Bible is you. I know that. Okay. But now she is nevertheless what? Drawn to Asar. Set produces no offspring. Okay? Impotent. Why? Because you don't need no more of him. He's one of a kind. Unique. You don't need a whole bunch of sets. Oh, hell to the no. No. But we got a bunch of them anyway. But, okay, he don't produce offspring because of that. He's unique and you don't need but one. And with her, they don't do nothing. In the same way, a life, watch this, they're showing you a life of vice, which is egoism, and selfishness, that's the set principles, produce no offspring in the form of what? Spiritual enlightenment. Abiding joy, peace, or happiness. But what it do offer, you ready? Illusory, ego-conscious frustrations and unrest and discontent. Suffer. Okay? You suffer because you're ignorant. You suffer because you're ignorant action. And it will continue to go on and on until what? You stop the process. It's up to you. Okay? I'm just trying to help you along that mount. Now let's talk about Anpu. Y'all know him as Anubis. This is my favorite. This is my dude. Anpu is the offspring of spirit, Asar, soul, and pure physical mortal nature. Neptet. They get together, their offspring becomes Anpu, is often related to what? He's the dog or the jackal-head deity. He sits and watches over Asar. The jackal deity has two aspects. Anpu and Anpuet, they call Whippawat, meaning the one who know the way. I'm your Anpu when it comes to spiritual enlightenment. Why? I know the way. So I'm just trying to show you. I'm taking you where you need to go. I'm going to drop you off. Now it's up to you. I can get you there. Trust me. That's the job of Anubis, your discernment. It can dictate what's right and what's wrong to lead you down the right path. Anpu is the embalmer, the one who prepares what? The initiate. That's my job. The Shiti, S-H-T-I, and that means one who was what? In the coffin, the body, the one inside you. We making discernment decisions based on what we know to be right and wrong for you. As a neophyte, watch this. You, the initiate, is considered to be dead, ignorant. You are mummy. I'm raising you from a dead level of ignorance of self to the living level on the perpendicular. They call it the square. I wear that. I do that. Metaphorically, symbolically, I'm raising you from the dead level to the living level. How about that? Dead level is ignorant, living level is knowledge of self. Mason do it all the time. I did it for years. Sorry. That's why it comes easy. It's esoteric teaching. You're considered the mummy, the dead one. Okay, why? Until we raise you. We got the power to raise the dead. Why? With knowledge of self. And since he or she, again, don't make a difference, does not have what? Consciousness or realization of what? The transcendental reality beyond what? Their ego, personality. They don't know God. That's my point right there. You can say, I believe, but if you're living egoistically, you could care less about God. Why? Because you're going to do you. You ain't thinking about God. I live a spiritually disciplined lifestyle. I keep God on my mind, keeps me from doing me. Sometimes doing me ain't always the right thing or the best thing. But if I'm God conscious, I won't put me first. I'll put him first. So I'm going to do the right thing. That's how it works. And for doing that, he'll take care of you. Moving on. It's called blessings. He or she is now what? An ordinary mortal human being in consciousness. Now at this stage, you, the aspirant, right thinker, must be prepared to what? You ready? righteous and virtuous living in the physical world, and by purification, and you will receive the teachings by what? Manifesting them as you learn them. You put them to your daily routine of life. That's how. And because without this preparation, without the things you need to do, it won't happen. If I say you need to do 100 push-ups a day, in 90 days, you should be in a nice position. If you follow that regimen to the law, in 90 days, you will say, yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. And now it'll be up to you to do what you want to do. While I've showed you what you can do and how you need to do it. Moving on. And the highest teachings would fail on what? All those ignorant, deaf ears. That's why. In this context, Anpu, which is Anubis, represents vigilance. And watch this, the constant daily practice of what? Discrimination and watchfulness, mindfulness over what? Over that ego self. He will kick the cowboy crap out of your ego. Set don't want to deal with Anubis. He don't want no parts of that. None. Okay? Why? See? That's the difference. And when you got that, your ego self have to back down. He too big. Okay? He ain't like David. He don't care about the size. Your ego cares about the size. Why? Okay. And it'll acquiesce. That's why. Anpu, he's the real honey badger. Why? He wish you would. He wish you would. I love that about him. Yeah, he's aggressive with what he do. And Anpu represents, what's this? The development of what? Mental clarity. Sanity. If you want to deal with, you want to mess with me, you can't be too smart. Why? It ain't going to end well for you. That's why. And he tell you, which unfolds where? Within you, the human heart, here in degrees, gradually, through what? The practice daily of what? Discrimination, watchfulness, what? Over your ego self, it becomes what? Your ego become effaced and reveals what? The true self, what? It's going to bow and acquiesce to your higher self. Okay, you win. You win. I give uncle, okay? As one with what? A soul. Your ego self fights. A soul reborn is Haru. He tell Haru, this is what you need to do to get this guy. I didn't do it, so I'm giving you the secret. And that's us learning ourselves, becoming conscious of who we are to what? Defeat our ego self that wants to run the show. That's the lesson. Hope you got it. But I got some more. See the clock. So, I'm going. Let's keep going. We're dealing with Anpu. Anpu represents control of your thoughts. Right thinking. That's why he's my dude. Control of one's action. Right actions. That's why. And he had total devotion of purpose and reason in learning how to distinguish between what? Right and wrong. When you don't know right from wrong, you might do wrong thinking it's right. Moving on. Learning to distinguish what? The real from the unreal. Real, unreal. Why? Physical, this ain't real. Why? It's going to run out. Anpu is solely, what's this? Solely devoted to who? His father Asar. Symbolically, I was too. When I realized, no. Hasta la vista, baby. Why? I'm not doing that. Why? I don't want to pay the price. The price for some things that you do in life, if you don't want to pay them, you should not do them. When I was coming up, you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Man, I was waiting to do my time. Why? I'm committing crimes. I know it's coming. I know that's the end game to this. It happened. I'm better for that. Why? That's what I chose to do. I got out the way. Now I'm moving on. It's not worse than an old person thinking he young, trying to do stuff that he think he can still do and what he can't. Growing up, get by that. But watch this. Now, Anpu, which is the part of you that's solely devoted to his father. Anpu appeals, watch this, impels what? Dispassion, detachment from what? Worldly desires. You can't tempt him. You can't bribe him. He ain't for sale. Sound familiar? This should not be misinterpreted as what? As a pathetic development. Oh, he just, no. When you're steadfast and on your game, your detachment from the world implies what? A keen understanding that this world and all its objects in it cannot bring happiness to my soul. Remember that? Because why? They are transient. That means it's moving, it's fleeting. And since the essence of all objects is our higher self, that's who I choose to serve. In detaching from the objects and the worldly things, you're merely detaching from what the reflection of the higher self, letting that go, and attaching to the real higher self beyond objects. Again, God, spirit, from the perspective of what? Spirituality. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. We just forget that we're spiritual beings. We just think we're human, and humans die. Spirit don't. The act of detaching from objects does not mean simply giving up objects. No, it means I'm not in love with an object, a new car. I don't love that car. That car, no. It pleases me to have the ability to have it. Put it in perspective and you'll be fine. That's what it means. Rather, it means you now have a more profound way of seeing and understanding objects. Simple as that. Okay? You now have a deeper insight into what? True nature of objects and things in this physical world. You don't get too attached to them. It is the understanding which allows you to what? To actually detach from objects. My old man was a trinket like toys. He had other stuff. I don't do that. That ain't my thing. Simple, okay? You should understand they are temporal creations from what? The source of all existence, but your very own heart, as in your dream, and therefore are not abiding realities that can or should be possessed or owned. You come in here with nothing, you're going to leave with nothing. Whatever you accumulate means nothing at your time of death. Ask Tutankhamun. Moving on. Discernment. Purity of mind. Right thinking. That's the ability to know right from wrong. And I'm proficient in that. Truth from untruth. I'll call you what you are. Reality from unreality. I'll let you know. And those are the hallmarks of who? An Ampu mind, a right thinking mind. These qualities are essential in the beginning of what? Your spiritual, psycho-spiritual journey, aka life, as well as in the more advanced practice stage of life, in order to develop your mind that is to be capable of discovering the stability between what? The absolute reality, God of spirit, and the subtlety of the egoistic personal human desires and the apparent reality of time and space that a lot of people get caught up in, the matrix, which are what? Temporal and illusory. Nope. Listen, the Ampu mind, the right thinking mind, is required. Ampu, as the preparer of the mind, the purifier of the mind, he operates in order to allow what? Proper discernment, right thinking. Ding, ding, ding. I love when you get to that part. That's my stuff right there. And you have to do that to get where I am now. Why? If you in love with your car, you in love with your house, if you in love with the wrong stuff. That's why. Simple. Let's go. Got a little bit more to go. I'm almost there. Now, if you're right thinking about your worldly situation and objects, what I don't control, I leave be. I only control me. Situations, I deal with them as I can, best I can, and do the best I can. That's it. And as a spiritual warrior, Ampu mind, right thinking mind, has the capacity, watch this, to confront wrong thinkers. Listen, I used to run around looking for wrong thinkers just so I could beat up on them. Now I didn't, come, but I will still beat the crap out of them when you wrong thinking you can come at me. I'm not allowing that. Simple as that. I'm not the one. Moving on. Okay. I'm aggressive. Okay. I'm very aggressive. And if you come at me, I'm not going to backpedal. Okay. I don't do that. I do that. Moving on. Wow. Right thinking. When you confront, I will confront wrong thinking, allowing the aspirant, the right thinker, to what? Succeed against what? All incorrect and misinterpreted ideas or concepts, aka religion. There are, what's this? Thoughts and desires. When they're misguided and they're misled, you going to end up in the wrong place. If you don't have the discernment to know better, you're going to end up wishing you had her. And Anpu opens the way, and he leads what? Right thinkers, aspirants to where? The land, you ready? Of spiritual enlightenment. Yeah, I'm excited. That's my goal. That's the role I'm playing for you, spiritual people joining my concept. I'm taking you to the land of spiritual enlightenment so you can know for yourself who you are and what you're doing for yourself. Watch this. Now, I teach you what teach you. Okay, that's called the West. The West and Anpu of the West is what? The mind of the West. That's the place where what? Life comes to proper end in peace and spiritual enlightenment, perfection. Watch this. In understanding the nature of the transcendent. Meaning, when you die with knowledge of self, because you got spiritual enlightenment, you're going to go to the West. If you die ignorant of yourself, you stay here in the East to what? To be reborn, recycled. So everybody don't get to the West. That's the concept. And what I'm wrapping it up right now, the capacity of the mind to discern what operates in a intellectual, not a belief, an intellectual process of the mind, as well as what? Foundations for the capacity of the mind to understand concepts, as well as to understand, separate from egoism, your physical desires that skew what? The mind and cause it to make bad decisions that are what? Partially to the desires and not partial to the desires and not based on solely the truth or what's right. Your discernment does that. If you don't have it in check, you're going to make bad decisions, which your septanian qualities lead to what? Fetters, problems that you brought on yourself. Okay? The concept of the set ego is a man with a hatchet to his head. Okay? Self-destructive. Now, the qualities of Anpu is what assists in the spiritual movement, since an intellectual grasp of the mystical philosophy that I'm teaching is necessary for what? The progress of spiritual path, along the spiritual path. However, intellectual and sharpness, and stability are only a means and not an end to themselves. Why? Because spiritual evolution necessitates a transcendental movement forward, upward, and the level of the ordinary human intellect, the level of mind and senses, you're starting to think and be as one, becoming connected to your higher self. And watch this. Now we return other aspects of Anpu. I'm going to go right on down here. We did all that already. I see it's all redundant information. But watch this. The movement of dissolution. That's the spiritual journey of what? Spiritual enlightenment. And it's based on what? The pauite, you learning and mastering them and becoming what? And have a positive outcome when you learn who you are. Wrapping it up with Haru, Het Haru, which is Horus and Hethar. Right quick. Haru is the epitome of all human beings. I like that. Haru. Human qualities. When they are what? Supplemented and under control and harmonized. He is the offspring, here you go, of what? The spirit of Asar, which is his father, and the intuitional wisdom of Aset. You put them together, that's what you get human. We are Asar and Aset in the flesh, which is Haru. When human beings evolve in consciousness to their what? Full potential, okay, and become masters of what? Their own conscious, and I just said consciousness, which is spelled COSCINOUSNESS. Well, now when you learn to master your own conscious, which is the heart conscious, is spelled CONSCIENCE. Meaning it's been proven, as well as what? As their own physical nature. You become God in the flesh. They are what? The perfect blend of what? Matter and spirit. Desire, devotion, wisdom, and power. They transcend time and space, even as they what? Continue to live in time and space. Such a life is what? Glorious. And it is the goal of all right thinkers, aka human beings. I say right thinkers because all human beings ain't trying to get this information. So when you doing it, you're a right thinker, it's for you. Wrapping it up. The goddess Het Haru. Y'all know it's Hathor. She is the subtle essence of the dynamic, focused spirit power in creation. She's the female aspect of Haru. Okay? And for her form is the what? She's the right eye of Ra, the sun disk. That sun disk is ultimate symbol of what? The dynamic power of who? The divine self, which sustains all life. Her name indicates a close relationship with who? Haru. The name Het, Haru. It means house of Haru. They live with each other. Haru is indeed the one who dwells where? In the house of Haru. In other words, you have the spirit, which is Haru. I love saying that, okay? Which lives in its creation. Het. Het is the house. Every human being has, Het Haru. Why? You house the spirit. That's what they're trying to tell you. Itself. Haru is none other than who? Ra, in another form, and Haru is also who? Tahuti. Haru is also none other than Nefertim. He's also Nefertim, which is what? The beautiful completion, beautiful one, who's complete, divine, self, arising where? Out of the primeval waters. They had the lotus flower, sitting on a lotus plant, again, representing open up to God, okay, rising up to heavens. And thus, every human being, Haru, me and you, is not separate from God, but is what? Essentially what? God in the flesh, who arose what? From the primeval waters, aka Nefertim, and it reached its full potential and is able to what? Realize their true nature themselves, aka know thyself, and the self manifestation of the universe, as well as what? The unconsciousness of Ra and the intellect of Tahuti, which reside and lives and interacts within that creation, aka every human being. We all start here, very few end up there. Come on up here. That's where you want to be. Other than that, you're going to fall short and come back to being reincarnated. Not like me. That's the lesson. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh, I had fun. I know it took a little while, but I hope you enjoyed it. I did. And in closing, right thinkers, may y'all live to be 100 and me 100 minus a day. So I never know that my right thinkers who know themselves have passed away. I'll be back. Well, I'm not done.